But all right. I don't even know if we can try this. Can y'all even hear me or see me? Because from what OBS is saying, it's this connection's really bad. I got it actually into a AT&T Wi-Fi right now. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can y'all hear me? And that's beautiful because my Elgato, whatever this is, Stream Deck Lite works on Wi-Fi. It won't turn on. This is beautiful. All right, so I'll try this out for a little while. As long as y'all tell me y'all can hear me, then I think we're good. But my Linksys router, I bought a mesh router about 2 years ago for here in the garage. It has been trash ever since. I've been putting off getting a new Linksys router because I want one with 2.5 gig WAN connection for my internet service, in addition to a 2.5 LAN connection to go to this computer. I've been putting it off. So apparently tomorrow, because it's always something. Apparently tomorrow I'm going to buy a new router. I've been trying for the last hour resetting it, keeping it unplugged for 20 minutes, but it's locked up. All the lights, all the lights are lit up on it. You unplug it, plug it back in, all the lights are still lit up on it. So I think it's finally bit though. hit the thing. So see if I can disconnect some of this stuff. Oh, how about now? Anything? You don't realize how much you miss internet until it's time to, until something happens. Everything's good. Y'all sure everything's good? I see I only got 3 people here, so I'm thinking, um, oh man, now I'm done to 2 people. Anybody? Restaurant and project hooking up, never had a mesh network. Yeah, I've been dealing with that too, on top of everything else. I got some non-15 megahertz Yagis in today, and these things are 50 inches long. Like I just didn't figure out how long 50 inches was going to be on a Yagi antenna. It's stupid. Um, I don't know. Are we gonna try this or what? I got audio. Can y'all hear me? I'm having horrible connection tonight, so I might just have to cancel this. I can't believe none of these Wi-Fi cards I got, Verizon, AT&T, or another FirstNet one, none of these can handle an upload on this YouTube. And I know if I switch to my phone and do a YouTube live from there, it's going to boot all y'all. I don't know if it's going to allow me to do it. Let me see. Deep in sucking all the internet. Oh, No, not 619 is definitely is a antenna 915. All right, if y'all tell me that I'm good, now there's an echo. I don't know why there'd be an echo. My volume's all the way down. — 619. This is the Yagi I'm talking about. I didn't change any settings. I didn't do anything. I don't know what it could be. I got my volume down. Let me see if I mute my TV. How's this? Is this any better? I know I got some drop frames, but is it smooth right now, or do I need to switch to my phone? Y'all tell me. Y'all tell me I'm smooth. I'll keep trying to do this. If y'all tell me I got an echo, I'm gonna switch to my phone. I started a live on my phone also. Mm-hmm. 100% good, I'm guessing. All right, so I'll just go with this, and then y'all tell me if it gets too bad. We'll go ahead and stop it, I guess. So here we are, 17 minutes in. Lost everybody, but you know, yeah. 619. You know, I don't know why it took me towards the end of that thing to ask the question, what's going on with TGE? Like, nobody mentioned it. You know, that's what majority of everybody was there for. And I just thought it was funny that nobody asked what the hell's going on with TGE until Grumpy had to ask at the end, you know, hey, what the hell about TGE? That's what most of us were in there for. You know, talking about the Wingbits TGE. So, y'all give me 1 second. I'll be right back. My daughter's calling me in the kitchen. Hold on 1 second. So, how did y'all like my new thumbnail for my lives? My new thumbnail says crypto deep in discussing crypto deep in projects and what's for dinner. You know, since I'm always eating in front of y'all. So because I've been dealing with my router, trying to get that back online, I didn't finish cooking. I'm making smothered fresh sausage. If any of y'all know what that is, I did that, I think, on my cooking YouTube channel, my outdoor channel. Fresh deer sausage, venison sausage, whatever you want to call it. Fresh, it's not smoked, it's not cooked, whatever. And you put it on a hot pan, make it a little crispy on all sides for about 5 minutes. Smother it with water, with some garlic and onions and stuff like that. Put a lid on top of it. You let it cook down for about an hour. Thicken the gravy up a little bit. And you got sausage with gravy and corn and rice. And it's phenomenal. And I'm not eating in front of y'all because I'm going to look like a fat hog eating all that. So she was just finishing it up for me. So, yes, today was the TGE. And I got to figure out how the hell I'm going to see this. So I'm going to do a video completely on everything that AMA, because I know not everybody that comes to this channel is 100% on Wingbits. So I don't want to take up this whole live for the 6 people who are still here. I appreciate it. Make sure you please give me a like button just for all my effort. By Thursday, I promise I will I'll have a new router. That's for sure. Because when my wife gets out the bath in a second and realizes she can't watch TV because everything's streaming and we have no Wi-Fi for streaming, it's not going to be good. So, yeah, Raymond, the way the crypto's going right now, that is true. I got a freezer now full of deer meat. So I told my daughter and my wife, y'all better get used to it. So, yeah, Wingbits had that TGE today. Listen, y'all know I'm a big fan of Wingbits. So despite it, but you also know what this channel is all about. It's me being honest and grumpy. So without upsetting the people in that project, I'm going to say I thought today was a nothing burner. Y'all can tell me if y'all agree with that. Y'all can tell me if y'all disagree with that. I just found that most of the stuff they talked about, if you've been involved in the Discord, we knew about already. And that was it. And if it wasn't for Grumpy asking at the end about what the hell's going on with TGE, or somebody going to ask this question, they would have just skipped right over it. From what Robin's saying, since I know some of y'all probably are waiting to hear that answer, since y'all might have been working today or missed it. But from what Robin's saying is, I'm going to tell you what I heard. Now, while I am in denial and my wife has accused me of needing hearing aids, some of y'all were in that live also. I'm going to tell you what I thought I heard. I'm not saying this is fact. I'm pretty sure I heard 2 months and 10 days. I thought I heard that. But he also said, they realized they can't push TGE back no further. He also made a comment that I didn't really care for too much. And, I'm just being real. I don't want nobody to construe my comments as in, I know I just said this before, I'm going to say this again, that I'm still 100% on board with Wingbits, still 100% on board with the project. It's still my #1 project, still my favorite project and everything like that. But I am going to critique a couple of things. I think sometimes Robin makes a comment. Even Axie said, yeah, he sometimes he lets out a little too much. I think he has kind of this grumpy problem where like your mouth is going too fast that your brain can process, and like you want to say stuff good, positive, sometimes negative, and in his brain's by the time your brain tells your mouth stop, shut the hell up, it just goes out. And he made a comment about, he said people are impatient, and I had to like cross my hands like this and take them off the keyboard, because if I wasn't such a fanboy of Wingbits, probably would have typed something that I didn't, and my hands would have out typed my brain, because I think we've been very patient, don't y'all? I think we've been I think we've been very patient. And maybe I look. Sometimes my wife tells me sometimes I construe things wrong. Sometimes y'all tell me I construe things wrong. Maybe I construed it wrong. But I'm asking for y'all who was in that TGE today. Did y'all hear when he made that comment? Y'all are getting impatient and people are getting impatient. I'm like, we've been patient. Like I believe I see less win TGE now than I did 2-3 months ago. Now, I'm not saying I want him to push it. Okay, hey, we're all being patient. Let's push it back some more. You know, one thing that was positive that he did say is they now have customers who are renewing contracts. They were in a 1-year contract. They are now renewing contracts. And with those contracts, they are able, because they have so much more coverage that they've added in 2025. And, and he went over some percentages, 519% increase in Latin America, 104% increase in Asia America. And the reason he brings those two regions up is because that's where there's a lot of customer base at. And some of these other projects, layer 2 projects that we talk about, can't cover it. And so they're able to now, they locked in some of these customers for longer term. So you're going longer than a year, and for, I guess, more expensive packaging was the word he used. They were able to up their rates. So again, this is when I now switch sides and I put the fanboy Wingbits hat on that says, look, here's my hunting hat, my hunting orange hat, and it's even got Wingbits on the side of it. So this is where I put my fanboy hat on and say, nah, ha ha, boo boo, whatever. These a-holes that were on their lives and doing deep pin videos and saying nobody's gonna buy Wingbit stuff because Radar Box and ADSB Exchange and FlightAware is giving it away for free. Nobody's gonna buy Wingbits. Well, kiss my ass. Y'all don't know what the hell y'all talking about. I've said it before and I'll say it again. That but so basically they said TGE will be Q1 this year. I heard him say 2 months to 10 days. I don't know, I don't know. I think we've been very, very patient for TGE. I know he says that the whole pre-sale thing, only 10% of the people who could have did it. Hey, I did it. I got $1,000 out of it. I'm not. I've listen, and maybe for the good of the project or whatever else you want to say. Kiss my ass. I've sat back and y'all know, because y'all have even told me I'm an idiot for not cashing in on certain projects. You look at where my, at one time I had several $1,000s worth of entropy. I got several $100s now. I could have sold my NFTs in that project for $500-$600. Can't sell them now for nothing. How many other projects we talk about? So you know what? I wanted to take a little profit. I had some bills due, and I said, hell on it. I was the number one Wingbits holder. And I gave up that number one throne to cash in $1,000 worth. And he kind of made it sound like, wait, maybe I'm taking it. Part of it was, I told my guys at work, look, I got a meeting at 9:30 today, and I got headphones on, and you still got people making noise. You still got people trying to talk to me and stuff like that. And I'm like, guys, I'm trying to listen to this. And maybe I was getting a little aggravated, and maybe getting aggravated at the external stuff. Maybe I started taking some things wrong in this AMA today. Yeah, people who asked about geosigners. You even had somebody who asked in the Discord before we started the AMA, why can't we have, DIY stations back? That's been answered before. What about geosigners? They got geosigners on the side in case one breaks. But they're trying not to ever go down that route again of buying geosigners and worry about shipping them. I thought someone was interested when somebody came out straight out and asked them about the buyback in burns, because if you listen to Robin in a couple of, and we've discussed it on my Discord and we've discussed it on live, us, the group, my core group that's here now, that was patiently waiting for me, and I appreciate that again, guys. But you know, we've heard Robin talk about buybacks and burns, and how he was on, one of the lives just not too long ago, again, talking about how he don't like it. So people started panicking, thinking they were going to try to pivot or do something. He has assured us that there is no change right now in buyback and burn or tokenomics. I'm going to tell y'all right now, y'all want to see me flip fanboy very quickly? Very quickly? I don't understand. So if he's talking about keeping buyback, and let me rephrase it before somebody takes the words out of my mouth. He made a comment about certain projects doing buybacks and not burning. So if you're doing buyback, then what are you doing with the tokens? Because the whole part of burning is you're locking those tokens away and causing a scarcity, right? Either if you have a $10 billion, a 10 billion tokenomics. But if you're buying the tokens, couldn't you technically sell the tokens later or do something else with them? So that's not going to help overall. Am I missing something here? Yes, there's been 2 or 3 projects recently that got rid of burns, and people think it's like this new, oh my goodness, look how much sweat. I mean, look how much heat helium got for getting rid of it. But yet, if you watch my video I released this morning, there are several projects that are struggling, but also talked about the burns they did. And you look at the token, when other people have been tanking on their price, their token has been holding still. Now, could you argue that that's not really from burning? I guess so. But I'm gonna tell you right now, they get rid of using I understand they got bills to pay, but using some of the profits from these contracts and not buying back and burning tokens. Grumpy is going to be grumpy and deflated. Doesn't tell what y'all think, but so. But Odin, I'm only losing I'm only losing the bonus on the tokens I got rid of. I still have over 1 million Wingbits tokens. My devices are still getting bonuses because I'm still online now. Because I asked them that question. The only thing I'm not getting a bonus on is whatever I lost, got rid of. But I'm still getting bonuses because I still have 15 miners right now, possibly 16. I got another one possibly coming on. I'm getting it now. What I'm told is, I'm told that don't count on ever getting number 1 back because they have some people who have some large fleets. And I'm like, damn, I got 15 of these things, possibly 16 coming. Another one coming. You telling me they got people with more than that coming on that? That means they're buying more WB 200s. Damn. See, 619. I did follow Helium's mistake, because that's why right now my goofy ass still has a crap load of Helium tokens in my wallet that I didn't sell. Now I'm not going to dump on Wingbits. My thing was, take some of this profit now. Technically, with that one, I got $1,000 in my pocket from it. I mean, it ain't my pocket no more. I spent it, but bought a little bit, couple of tokens here, put a little bit of Crow tokens back in my wallet, bought a little bit of Vet, paid off 1 or 2 little bills that were over my head. But I kind of look at it as is, I've now already kind of broke even on my 15 stations to a point. the antennas I had to buy, the SDRs I had to buy, little potatoes I had to buy, or sweet potatoes I had to buy, outer casings or whatever you want to call them, the outdoor boxes and stuff like that. Hey, I'm closer to an ROI now. And that's kind of look at it. So at TGE, whenever that comes, it's all profit at this point. All profit. So I Jay Styles, I feel the same way. And, that's why I'm not going to do a video on this AMA until tomorrow evening. I was going to do one. Originally, my plan was to do one after this is over with, but I want to give me a day to process. Because y'all tell me, like, I sat through that TGE today, and maybe I should have taken some stuff as a positive news. Maybe I get a PM shortly from somebody who says, "Man, you didn't think this was positive? We said this, this, and this." I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess so. One thing, just I'm looking over some of my notes that, I took. One thing that he did say is he wished he could talk more about the partnerships they're doing. And he was kind of excited, but yet he had to be kind of held back a little bit. 619 brought up about buying, I think it was 619 brought up airline miles. There are going to be several things that you can do with this Wingbits tokens if you don't want to cash them out. They have, I think it was 5 or 6, 7, 6 partners already lined up. Tokens, partners to convert to services based on their feedback. If you remember, we took a poll, I say not too long ago, hell, that could have been 6 months ago, on different things that you can convert your tokens to. I think some was shirts, airline miles, sky lounge stuff. I don't remember exactly what it is. Pillows for flying, and airline tickets, I think, or something like that. And they have they have that in the works, but again, because of NDAs or something like that, they can't discuss it any more than that. So that is something that they've sparked a lot. We know about they're testing new data, ways of sending data to kind of help us on bandwidth, especially people like 619 who are using MiFis and stuff like that. You look at this MiFi I'm on right now, and it's barely keeping up with the stream. And that's the upload side. I gotta take better notes. At scale for coverage to monetize at higher rate. So at the scale that they're at right now, because of how many devices they have, they are now able to monetize at a higher rate, meaning they can charge their customers more because we and this kind of goes into the 4D Sky thing. We right now have like the best coverage, Wingbits, better than. And you look at this, you look at how much this again when I'm putting the fanboy hat back on, and I'm gonna defend them. From what they're saying, and they talked somewhere about the percentage, how much percentage more they have than these other competitors, these I call them layer 2 competitors, the FlightAwares and stuff. But we know the valuation when those companies got bought out, was it like millions or something like that, millions of dollars what it was worth. And Wingbits has better coverage now. I'm gonna talk about 4D Sky in a second, but let me get to this because I want to kind of close it out with that. They supposedly they have 2 new products in development. He talked about B2B and B2C, whatever the hell that means. And there's supposed to be a 10x improvement over competition. Did y'all hear that also? Now, when he says 10x over competition, is this going to be a new device? Because somebody distinctly asked him about the current manufacturer, meaning HiFix. And he said HiFix is no longer creating devices. Did y'all hear that? So I kind of figured when I saw that device from X a while back that looks like a gaming router, I had a feeling it's going to be another WB200 type of device. and that's what this is going to be. Nothing combined with GeoNet. Maybe something a little scaled down in price. Maybe, I'm hoping. Because you've had people complain about the pricing, and I want to go over. I'm gonna go over in a second what's been going on with my affiliate code, because somebody's been buying. I've been having several people buy stuff the last couple of days, and I didn't go into the affiliate code to see what they're buying, but I'm curious if it's for these guys, because there's been a big push for that. But I heard him say clearly that basically the current manufacturer, meaning Hynfix, is no longer they are no longer producing devices. Did y'all hear that? Um, just going back to some of your comments. Oh, Jay Styles, you were the one that asked about the Hynfix stations, and if so let's see what else. So one thing he talked about also I thought was very interesting, and I'm sure this is coming from some of the 4D Sky stuff, but the Wingbits device, the WB200, is modular, meaning, for instance, in the UK, I think it was the UK, if they want to start messing with drone stuff, and the drone, UK has set the drones up to use the 978 megahertz, which is what, MLAT or something like that. They can actually change that remotely. And I don't know how that would work with the antenna you're using. I don't know if that would be something in addition, but they did talk about that device being modular, can upgrade it. If depending on what region you're in, if they need a certain frequency to be scanned, UK is using 978. They can change it to that. People asked about MLAT. I'm sure that's because of 4D Sky, and he said they are playing with MLAT in the background, and that is on the roadmap. So that's quite interesting. Now, I want to defend him here, and I don't know what I'm allowed to say. All I can say, and I probably can't even say this, but I'm just going to say it because I'm just going to. They have discussed 978 MLAT, UAT, and stuff well before 4D Sky came out. I remember distinctly talking about that with them. Now, where they are with testing or anything like that, and how far are they really, I can't tell you. I don't know if they're testing it. I don't know if they have test stations out. I don't know what they did like that. All I can tell you is they have mentioned MLAT UAT before 4D Sky. So I don't want people to think like, oh, now that 4D Sky is coming out and 4D Sky is talking about MLAT and 978, now all of a sudden Wingbits wants to be involved in it, though. Now, could this pressure them to start pushing it a little harder, or maybe moving it up on the roadmap? Now that's possible. Of course that could be possible. Somebody asked about the modular or the 978 stuff with a DIY device, and they said that was indeed also being discussed, looked at, or something like that. And I think Mike or Axie was the one who came and said the biggest thing with that is you got some people are already at the power limit for their Pi because they're using, cellular chargers and stuff like that. So by the time you put in a, one of these or one of the blue or green ones that has an amp in it, plus you might have a Wi-Fi dongle in it, plus you might also have, you're going to have a geosigner in it, you're at the power limit to a point. So unless you are going to, then you would have to start using a powered USB hub, which I'm sure some people will cry about. I gotta go buy a powered USB hub if I want to run 970. You know it's coming. But I actually said, you would probably look at that, which makes me wonder if they're playing with that already with DIY devices. Those gray antennas I have, the gray antennas that I have pushed out to y'all, which I do want to check that too, because with this atmospheric craziness going on right now with these northern lights and stuff. If you remember last time, I was getting like 160 hexes all the way into like Tennessee and Kansas and stuff like that. It's on my tower, Wingbits tower. So I do want to check that if we have time. But with that antenna already being tuned for 978 and for 1090, why would you need a second separate SDR unless it's going to be almost like a secondary program running in the back ingesting it? Maybe I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. She's went on and said, kind of off topic, kind of on topic. Remember a couple months ago, the Chinese cell phone farm in New York City that could cripple networks? They say maybe more around the country, good for Mescore. Yeah. The new device looks like the Air Squitter with a small nub antenna in the back. People buying Nublas with your code. Hope nobody's buying Nubla with my code. Somebody tell me what the hell's going on with that project. My follow-up question should have been, can you limit the prices on hardware? Hotfix charged way too much for that Wingbits only device just because they were charging too much for GeoNet already and matched. The Wingbits device is too expansion-based for future use. Yes. Hey, Helium Deploy does the same thing. I told you I wanted to buy a brush show for my daughter for Christmas because she'd been wanting a brush show, and they damn near doubled it. Freaking toothbrush. One of the things we kept saying about brush show, and I know we're getting off topic, but just talking about it ain't just Hotfix. But one thing about brush show was that, right now it was in the middle of the pack of other electric toothbrushes. Well, now you're charging almost $300 for it. You can't say that no more. Power USB hub still has some issues sometimes. 619, I have also. And actually, I think Axie or somebody made that comment to Axie that trying to run, and I think part of it also was if you were trying to put two SDRs in, people keep asking me about the mass chain project and serializing two SDRs and stuff like that. And look, I did it years ago with the DScan project when we were running a VHF SDR in it, and I vaguely remember how to do it, but I don't have like a device here to play with. Like all of my stuff's deployed, and I'm just lazy. No, I'm not lazy. I just got a lot of things going on to just deal with that right now. Oh, anyway, back on topic. I'm playing with MLAT. When asked if Hotfix was still making devices, he quickly answered no. And he also, this is what I was getting at earlier, was that he also reiterated this, and I've talked about this several times. He reiterated that they make zero. Because somebody asked them, how much are y'all making off devices? They made zero, which that's why for some of these people who argue about dependent, projects are just trying to sell devices so that they can make money. Wingbits, it ain't about it. Wingbits out of their own pocket made the geosigners, shipped out the geosigners, paid for all that, and they're not making a dime off of these devices from Hotfix. It goes to show you what they're making off of them devices. Because I don't know what it costs to manufacture them, but what do they force something each or something like that? It's absolutely stupid. We talk about that, but I know we're getting off topic again. I apologize, but $495. So that's $49.50 off with the Grumpy code. But anyway, so yeah, $495 is what Hotfix has the device for. But like the Geo one combined, like I had somebody buy that with my code last month. And look, while I thank you, I think it's absolutely crazy. And I love GeoSauna. I mean, I love GeoNet. But I think spending $1,095 for a device when there's a halving coming up, I think GeoNet is, Listen, I'll be the first to say it. Y'all can quit my Discord. Y'all can, and I hope you don't, because I love all y'all. I really do. But I think GeoNet's in trouble. I think you have to have fresh blood coming in with miners in a continuous manner, and to keep the devices online. And when you're about to go, I think what are we making right now? $1.65 a day, and in 5 months, you're going to 80 something cents a day. Then a year after that, you're going to 40 cents a day. And you can't change the tokenomics now, but I just think I hate yearly halvings. I hate 2-year halvings. The scenario that Wingbits is doing with no halvings, I think is wonderful, and I think more projects should use it, piggyback off of it. I hope Mass Chain does it. I've mentioned it to him many times. I think saying, yeah, we're going to do a yearly halving, I think that's lazy. I think Mass Chain's in trouble. I think GeoNet's in trouble. I think the project's solid. I think the project, out of all the deep pin projects right now, we talked about this earlier, and actually 619 is the one I brought that up in the Discord. I didn't know if Mike was going to allow it or start deleting, because you're not allowed to talk about other projects. But 619 got his little jab in there when these was it 619 or somebody answered 619, and they said, name a successful deep pin right now. Was GeoNet's like the only one. You could tell me I'm wrong. Anacoy looks like it might have a little promise, even though Anacoy's still not on CoinMarketCap yet, which I can't understand, because they want us to take them as a serious project, but yet you can't even pay for the fee to get on CoinMarketCap. What else, guys? Next about TGE. Even had no flight train come in and try to buy it. Oh, I thought this was great. He mentioned that one of the flight tracking companies, and of course he didn't say which one it was, but one of the layer 2, whatever you want to call it, whether or not it was, again, we don't know, ADSB Exchange, FlightAware, or one of these other ones, but one of them even tried to start buying data from Wingbits for those regions we talked about earlier, the ones that, Latin America or Asia America, that they've had a big push in. And I thought that was wonderful. I thought I got a kick out of that. I thought that was great. And again, it's just me being an a-hole back to certain people, Joe and some of these other ones that sat there in their live and just sat there and just degraded Wingbits, never giving a chance, saying nobody's going to buy this stuff because you can get it for free, blah, blah, blah. Now, who knows? 6 months from now, we're making half a penny a day. Joe might be right. He also told us that there's 11x. He said 11x meetings. 11x requests for meetings, for customer meetings, or in requests for customer meetings and stuff like that. What else? Anybody remember them talking about anything else that maybe I was too sidetracked? So let me go ahead and wrap up this Wingbits thing with this one. It's time to throw a little bit of shade, as the kids say. Again, sometimes, guys, gals, I read into things too much. I understand their rule of not talking about other projects, but sometimes there's a elephant in the room that you have to mention, and we all know what that elephant is. And they got asked about that said elephant, and the guy who actually asked the question asked 2 questions in the same chat. One was something, the high fixation maybe. The other one was, what about 4D Sky? Where do y'all see y'all compare yourself to 4D Sky, or whatever? And Robin answered one question and then just completely skipped over that. And hey, maybe he's taking the high road. I've mentioned many, many times in my videos that I have never heard Wingbits say a negative thing about 4D Sky. In fact, in the few talking to that I had behind the scenes with the Wingbits teams, they actually said that they knew the guy running it, or one of the guys in charge of it, something like that, and he was a cool dude, cool cat, and they wished him luck. And it just seems like 4D Sky tries to throw shade. This is why we're better. This is why we're doing this with Wingbits can't do that. Look, I'm in both of them. Again, I got one 4D Sky station. I got 15 Wingbit stations, plus the 5 I have with my friends, plus all the ones I help my friends run. Somehow I got roped into that. But my point is, so basically I got 20 Wingbit stations. I don't know what the exact, I wish they would have said it, and I wish I wrote it down. I don't know how many Wingbit stations we have right now. I know for a fact it's it's over 5,000, because I know you had 2,000 DIYs. I know when we passed up 2,000 high fixes, and then we went past that. So I'm assume we're well at 5,000. I don't know if the Wingbits website even tells you anywhere, but you just heard them talk about how much more coverage they have compared to these compared to like these, again, layer 2. I keep going layer 2. I don't know what the hell y'all want to call them. The old school flight tracker devices and stuff like companies and stuff like that. Look at these dots, man. Look at these dots. I mean, are we really going to sit here and have a penis measuring contest right now? Really? Y'all have 189 active nodes. Again, I want to see 4D Sky succeed. I think there's room for both of them. Competition's good for the industry. All right? No matter what industry you're in. I don't care what it is. And but dude, just don't. You can't compare. How can you sit here and compare? And we do drone detection. Really? Well, if there's a drone right here, you ain't gonna catch them. I don't see why they have to throw shade, dude. 4D Sky needs to worry about 4D Sky and building up 4D Sky. And hey, when y'all get about another 4,000 stations, come back. And again, I hate to be the whole fanboy thing, but I can't stand seeing these certain YouTubers like, this is why 4D Sky is better than Wingbits. No, apparently you got pissed off at Wingbits for some reason, or you're hoping that you get something out of 4D Sky and behind the scenes or something. Now, I told y'all this on my video if you happen to watch it. Tech Hustler, my boy, y'all's favorite YouTuber, next to Voscorn, came up with a short or a video or something, and I'll see if I can find it real quick if y'all haven't seen it. But he said something to the effect of 4D Sky has signed on a contract with NATO. Now, to me, NATO is made up of different different countries. So wouldn't those countries, like, why would NATO itself need? And look, and I've been trying to. You know he's still tearing down projects. He did a video, a short the other day, knocking down his weather stuff. Weather Examiner is another one he had. I don't know. I know he did a video in a short somewhere about 4D Sky and with something with NATO. And instead of me kind of paying attention to where it was, I was too busy trying to backtrack if that was true or not. But I still think part of the problem is it's a good and a bad thing. 4D Skies, compared to my DIY station at my house, my 4D Sky station that's on two metal poles that swing in the wind like this because it's two metal top fence rails. Because it's supposed to be temporary, but as everything, all the projects I do, temporary means I'll get back to it in 6 months. But that station with that antenna on it at 20 feet in my backyard is getting more airplanes than my Wingbits station with antenna on top of my 40-foot round tower. Now that one's doing good too. Gets 200 something flights throughout the day. Gets 200 plus miles. But apparently, I think it was the FGPA or some kind of board that's programmable board that's using as a receiver. Then there's a separate SDR like this that is doing 978, which I think that they could possibly put an LNA on that with a filter, maybe that probably would help out the 978 side, which is not even turned on yet. So they can brag about 978 all the F they want. It's not even turned on yet. And I'm also going to tell y'all going to start seeing a lot of YouTubers with this BitAxe and solo mining. Just preparing y'all for now. Because what else? You want to make 17 cents a day in DPIN, or do you want to just possibly play the lottery? How many Bitcoin cycles or whatever are they during the day, like 3 or 4 of them? So you're playing the lottery technically 3 or 4 times. And somebody did a video the other day, I watched it, showing how many solo miners have gotten blocks over the last 6 to 8 months. Is probably more than you think. But then he also said how many miners are out there and people buying 1,000 of these miners and just lining them up. And I'm like, that's crazy. So yes, can you hit a block with a solo miner? Yes, you can go to certain pools and it actually shows you. But I still think you have about as much chance as going down to your local 7-Eleven or whatever your local stop and rob grocery store is, or on the corner, and buying a lottery ticket. You have about as much chance as that as you do with a solo miner. So, right here, see, I know what the hell I'm talking about.
It's 4D Sky. With them, not only are you tracking aircraft, but you're also tracking drones, and it's a little bit
Are you
more
tracking drones, guys?
Not only that, but they're also very active within their social media as well as their community. And this is sort of crazy. They just signed a partnership with NATO. If you didn't know, aviation.
So he does a quick glimpse of that.
They just signed a partnership with NATO.
Okay, did any of y'all know anything about this? Look, I know I've tried to stay the hell out of politics. I used to get deep into politics years ago, and I got too deep, and I had to pull myself out that hole. So I've kind of stayed out the whole NATO world. like I don't see nothing about this. Like, shouldn't on 4D Sky, shouldn't they be like bragging about this all over the place? I mean, shouldn't they be like right here? Partners and customers. NATO, right? I mean, he must be getting something from 40 Scar. See, I know I should be going more to these conferences. Here's another one. Oh, I think 40 Scar will have similar results. This dude right here, is this the dude that had like Nadix or Nubula? Yeah, he had Nubula as one of the top 5 deep pin miners. It was that and there's another one he had that were like, come on, dude. But again, like, wouldn't you think if you had something with NATO, you would? Hey, I mean, he showed the image of it, so I don't think Tech Hustler made it up. I don't know. I missed all y'all's comments. Having reward long-term holders, not the miners. Odin, dude, you're a wise guy, wise man. You come with some good alpha in these chats, but this is not one of them. I have a bag full of helium that will argue with this comment. Havings reward long-term holders, not the miners. But I guess maybe helium's the exception. Maybe. No. I just keep holding on to my helium, hoping it goes back to $10 and $5 and $4 and $3. Now I just want $2 back. $619 says, I think 40 Sky's going to rush it and screw up. I got to watch my comments because I don't want people to think that I'm dead set against 40 Sky. I'm not. Like I said, I have a 40 Sky station. I hope they make it. I hope they can both be successful. When this was first presented to me, it was like, hey, Wingbits is more about tracking aircraft 40,000 feet. Then how long are they on the tarmac for? How long are they on the runway for? That's why they would give us bonuses for under 10,000 feet or 6,000 feet and 6 hexes around it. And that's what they were aiming for. And 4D Sky was going for like other stuff, other ADS-B type stuff. And that's how it was presented to me when I kind of, I was on a live when I got a text saying, hey, we're sending you a 4D Sky station. I didn't ask for it. We're sending it to you. Shipment. Here's the tracking number. Oh, hell. Because I was loyal to Wingbits. But it was explained to me, hey, and some of this even came from Wingbit people. Man, don't feel like that. 4D Sky, we're both, didn't say really working together. I don't want to say those words, but hey, we're doing this. We're doing AB, and those guys are doing CD. So we're all copacetic and everything's good. And I've been kind of like just going down that same route when I do my videos. Hey, I'm for 4D Sky, but I'm also for Wingbits. That's why I think I feel so uncomfortable when I see these YouTubers and I see 4D Sky and certain people making these asinine comments about this is why we're better than Wingbits. Wingbits can't do this. Well, so far my UAT's turned off and it's not picking up 978. So it's not picking up drones on 978, which is what supposedly they're going to be working off of. I just don't want to get into this. Y'all know how I feel. If y'all watch this video if y'all watch this channel for years, I've always said I can't stand this gang mentality, gang banger mentality, Crips versus Bloods. If you're in this project, you can't be in this project. Dude, I want all D-Pen to succeed. So does 619, despite what he wants to say. I can't stand this like us versus them mentality. Why can't we all succeed? If people want certain aircraft data, they're gonna buy from Wingbits. If people want certain, whether it's stuff that Wingbits is not producing, or drone stuff, or whatever, UAT stuff, MLAT stuff, whatever, they can go to 4D Sky and buy it. Hell, this industry got enough money. They've been paying Radar Exchange and Flight Tracker for a lot less, and they've been paying those people a lot of money. You know, we've heard numbers in the past, but let's all succeed. You know, what this guy saying in Copycat Journal, you know, what I was getting at earlier is I think though 40 guys looking at it is, I have to give it to them. I think their receiver is a well-built station. Now, the people want to spend $1,000 on it, and I think that's going to hurt them. You know, 4D Sky, like buying one for $1,000, and you don't know when TGE is going to be, how much you're going to get during TGE, and if it has a poor price or reward scale, you're going to run into what GeoNet's about to run into. Who's going to go buy a $600 device, $690 something device, or whatever it is, when you're making 80 cents a day? You're looking at a 2-year ROI, right? You know, so that's 24 in the last year. Yeah, I'm sorry, but you can't trust their cost lord, not token. Dokley. Mr. Olafson's back. Partnership better than competition. Listen, I like Tech Hustler. Y'all can say what you want. I've learned a lot about the dude, and I'm not knocking him. I still say he creates some engaging conversation with his videos. People thought he was losing his mind. We thought he got hit in the head too many times when he talked about the bull market was over with. He called it first. When everybody's like, just be patient, we're all good. And what this dude's driving there doing his driving vlog video and says, nope, y'all missed it. Remember when altcoins went up 2%? Y'all missed it. And we're like, this dude don't know what the hell he's talking about. And here we are later. Solana was $300 back then. Cardano was $1. Atom was $5. Vet was 2 cents, if not more. Peak was 17. No, peak was probably 20, 30 cents back then. Where the hell we at now? Bitcoin was 100 something thousand. We still gonna laugh at him? Now he might have pulled it out of his ass and had no TA to follow that, but was he wrong? You know, he's the first one out doing videos saying these D-Pen projects are like the gold rush. During the gold rush, you know who made the most money? The people selling the shovels in the wheelbarrows. And we all laughed at him like this good dude don't, you know, and you know what we found out later? Yeah, majority of these projects are making money off the devices. Can somebody spell Nubula? I'd love to know what they made off them cheap ass devices. Can't even tell you if it's freaking raining outside. At least my Weather XM, even though it ain't making nothing, my Weather XM is going to tell me if it's raining this weekend and which direction the wind's coming when it changes direction and we go from 70 degrees here to 20 degrees, and it's supposed to sleet and snow this weekend, and all Louisiana is going to lose their freaking minds. My Nubla station ain't gonna tell me shit. I swear, like, I'm pissed at myself with Nubla because that writing was on the wall and I refused to see it. And I'm upset at myself. I'm upset for y'all. I'm upset for leading y'all down that road. And I'm like, the writing was right there in front of us, and I just refused. I was so pissed off at WeatherXM that I'm such a weather geek. I'm like, come on, man, there's got to be somebody else that can pick up this ball and run with it. And I thought it was gonna be Nubla. What I was hearing about him and all this stuff, I thought it was gonna be Nubla. And yet you can't even get a real person to make a freaking comment from the project. You got some AI thing putting something on X every day, but nobody's addressed what the hell's going on with that project, unless he did today and I missed it. But 619 helium's not even about that no more. You don't hear nothing about the IoT side. They abandoned that way too quick. I was putting sensors out. I was putting water sensors out at my towers, door things. I was doing all that. I even put some sensors out for the parish on some of these remote utility stations because I was hoping that by getting them to buy the devices, because my idiot self thought that we'd make at least a couple of pennies off the data. I'm like, hey, you know how y'all can't tell if somebody gets in that door on this pump house out in the middle of this sugarcane field? Well, if you get this device, little bitty cheap little plastic thing, I have these IoT sensors all over the place that'll pick it up for you. And I'm the idiot pushing helium, and helium has already pivoted to 4G, 5G, mobile. And everybody kept asking me, are you getting on mobile? Hell no. You don't get on mobile when you just saw what the hell he did to us on IoT. And I know some of y'all are going to say, I did very well with it. But I tell you what, there's a lot of people say they got effed with no Vaseline with helium mobile. How's your CBRS unit working? You know, I can remember going to helium deploy saying I was going to make $13 a day by putting a CBRS unit, or whatever the hell it is, in my backyard in the middle, and I got cane field behind me. Y'all seen my backyard if y'all seen my videos. I'm like, really? And then helium mobile screws people over, and they're like, oh, I can't believe this. Why does this keep happening to us? What else, guys? Do we really want to get on a political rant after the mood we in today? So I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on with crypto this morning. And I don't even know where the hell crypto's at right now. I'm afraid if I open up too many tabs, I'm gonna start losing internet again. Then Bitcoin fell all the way to 87,600. Solana fell to 125. None of my alarms went off on VET yet, so apparently VET's not too bad. VET was down to, it flashed down to a penny. Damn it. Peak, a little over 2 cents. But, you know, so I watched this morning before the AMA. I'm trying to just do a little bit of, you know, what's going on with the hell in the crypto world while I'm catching up on some work stuff since we were off yesterday. And, you know, I love George, dude. George George does not have from Cryptos R Us does not have a negative bone in his body. Crypto's going to hell in a handbasket, and George is saying this is a great time for crypto. George, whatever you're smoking, ship it to Louisiana, please. Please. Because I want whatever you're smoking. But, you know, and again, I hate to bring up politics because we know what happens with politics. Things have been slow on my channel. I haven't been able to do as many videos and stuff. I've lost about 60 subscribers in the last month or two. So I do look at that kind of stuff because, you know, while I've always said subscribers wouldn't bother me, it bothers me a little bit. And I know probably some of the subscribers were fake bots and stuff like that. So maybe maybe they're getting their accounts deleted. I don't know. But you hate talking about politics, but you're starting to see certain people, George, Wendy O and them, who were all about Trump. Excuse me, and this clarity and all stuff like that. It's starting to wane a little bit. Now I ain't gonna turn it to who farted right now and talk about how everything's going. But you have George, and this is I'm quoting him. So supposedly this morning, this is what he's saying is he wanted the French president to join this peace board thing that he was doing, but to be on the peace board, Trump wanted like $1 billion or something crazy like that. So when the French president said no way, he says, okay, I'm charging 200% now on French wine tariffs. And then some other country, and then the country with the NATO thing with him trying to get Greenland, the countries that are fighting him on it, now he's charging them crazy tariffs. And then they're going to go up again in June. And this is having an effect on the market. Now, there's sometimes, like I would argue with who farther than some of these people, that, some of these tariffs, these other countries, we weren't charging them the right tariffs or whatever like that. We were catching up, whatever. So we would let go of some tariffs. And some of the tariffs weren't really affecting it. But according to George, this is his opinion. I wrote it all down. This is having an effect because my buddies that have stock markets, and normally they're like happy with Trump because their stocks are going up. Even they were pretty pissed off this morning. And like, dude, this dude can't keep weaponizing tariffs that every time some country doesn't agree with him, he's just going to start charging tariffs. It is getting a bit stupidly ridiculous. The stuff in Minnesota is getting stupidly ridiculous. I'm not going to get on this whole rant right now with ICE and how I feel about ICE, support and non-support or anything like that. But you know what? This thing can't continue in with ICE. And this what it is. It's hurting our economy. It's hurting our stocks. It's hurting crypto. People don't like to see this unsettled stuff. This thing with Greenland and him wanting to have Greenland before all of a sudden he's worried about Russia and China getting it or something like that. It's not good for crypto. Now, I still will argue with anybody that it's still better than what the alternate was in the voting booth last year, but you can't say that yeah, that's it. Like it says right here. U.S. President Trump threatened to hit French wines and champagnes with a 200% tariff in an apparent effort to cajole French President Emmanuel Macron into joining his Board of Peace initiative aimed at resolving conflicts. Trump's initiative would start by addressing Gaza and then expand to deal with other conflicts, raising questions about the role of the United Nations. I'm trying to see where it says what the cost was to get onto that board or something like that. I think this is like the dude's just weaponizing tariffs. You piss him off. And it's having an effect on the crypto market. He's threatening tariffs on all these countries with the NATO stuff, and it's having an effect on crypto. It's having an effect on stocks. It's having an effect on all kinds of stuff. Trump has threatened 10% tariffs, rising to 25% on goods from 8 NATO allies. That's the way to keep our allies happy. Starting on February 1st, due to the opposition of the U.S. acquisition of Greenland, escalating trade tensions. I like how the dude he can just request a freaking country and just like, yeah, they're gonna turn it over. I saw where Denmark responded back to him saying Greenland has been part of Denmark since before the United States was even created. You know, again, like I try to stay out of politics. I try, and I've told people in my Discord, like, I'm not gonna sit there and sweat politics. I got my own life to deal with. I got stuff that I can directly control. But this stuff is starting to have a serious impact on not only crypto, but stocks also. And I think, screw crypto, I think you're going to start seeing some stock people, some heavy hitters in stock market, big whales and stuff that are probably friends with Trump, call him on his personal cell and say, what the F are you doing, dude? Now, me and some buddies at work today, we all said every time the dude says tariff, he calls up his financial guy first and says, hey, go short the market. And then he goes out there and says, yep, I'm doing a 200% tariff. And he's just making that money. But you know, I don't know what they're gonna do with Minnesota with the whole ICE thing. I think they need to give it a rest. I think people who are marching in against ICE probably don't know what the hell ICE is really doing. They're just getting whatever, you know, the media is saying. I think it's all crazy, and I don't know what's gonna happen. I told y'all before last week, I can't buy the dip no more. I own the damn dip company. I bought so many dips, and I'm out of money to buy the dips right now. I wish I had some more money, but I can't buy the dips. H&T $1.19. Helium IT was way ahead of its time. I don't know all that. Yeah, but sometimes he's requesting stupid things. You know, so they should give him Greenland. You know, not like he's asking for a car or for a jet. He's asking for a whole damn country, Greenland. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know. What else? Anything else? So, hey man. So, that's what I was getting at. So, what George said the big deal is with all this is we have to sell bonds. Countries buy bonds. And by keep pissing off these other countries, no one wants to buy the bonds, which can lead to a serious downfall spiral that we have been warned about for a while, with our economy and stuff like that. And that's why you're seeing such a serious impact. It's not directly the tariffs, but it's that bond issue that they're worried about. That's getting way over my head. I'm not a financial expert or anything like that about bonds, but that's why I like to watch George, because he knows that about that kind of stuff more than I do. But it is something concerning. Even if you don't live in the country, in America, if you're watching this, it's still affecting crypto, still affecting stocks. You know, I keep hearing something about going on with Japan's stocks, and they're having some serious issues and stuff. So, you know, I don't know. Crypto is supposed to be a hedge against a lot of this stuff. Yeah, the $1,000 of Solana that I was telling y'all about, that I kept buying and selling and buying, selling, is no longer worth $1,000. It's now worth $945. So We hope it turns around. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all think this is all recovering anytime soon? You think 2026 is going to be a dark year for crypto? You think? Do you believe what some people have said, that there's no more bull markets? You're just going to have crypto, and sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. You're not going to have these full cycles like you do. Money's too spread out everywhere. You have ETFs now. Bitcoin ETFs and some of these other ones are now tied to the stock market. So when the stock market starts falling, you're going to see the impact even harder on crypto, which is what you're getting now. That's all possible. Some people, I know some of y'all like, hey, I'm running my deep in projects. I don't care. Don't care. I got a buddy who's into Bitcoin and a couple deep in projects. He doesn't look at, you couldn't give him $1,000 right now and say, what's the Bitcoin price? He would have no idea. He don't care. He's just sitting there collecting. He's holding, collecting and holding. And he's also holding too much helium right now, even though he dumped a good decent amount of it. But he and I've interviewed him on here before, but I mean, he holds over Bitcoin because he got it when it was much cheaper, because he's more of a Bitcoin maxi than anything. But he does have some deep in projects. But again, my point of the thing is, like with me, I'm going several times a day looking at what's the Bitcoin price, what's Solana's price, what's Vet's price. He ain't looking at none of that. I could get on Call of Duty with him in a little while and say, dude, did you know Bitcoin crashed today after these tariffs? Down to 80-some thousand. He's like, okay, really? Some people just don't care about all that. They don't. I guess they're looking way long term. So I don't know. Oh, yeah, I don't think we're invading Greenland. Yeah, something needs to happen to Minnesota. You can't, because what's happening now in Minnesota is you're seeing like the church thing with Don Lemon or whatever his name is. That went way too far. That's bullshit. That's complete. He needed his ass whipped in church. I don't think, I saw this parody, sarcastic news. It wasn't the Onion, but something similar, saying, hey, did you hear a bunch of Republicans went into a mosque and demanded the mosque to release certain people in the way? And it said at the end, no, I'm paraphrasing. No, I'm just joking. This was actually Democrats that went into a church. And the media is like, doesn't see nothing wrong with it. Like, this is BS. And despite if you're religious or not, I am. I've never hidden that fact on my channel. I go to church and stuff like that. But I think the fact that Don Lemon is his name, came out of there without an ass whipping was pretty. Somebody restrained themselves, because that's pretty. Now I think what's the funniest thing is that they're talking about charging him with the KKK law. Now that's hilarious. That's irony at its best. But I think these people are losing their minds out there. Do I agree with everything ICE is doing? No. Do I agree with some of they're doing? Yeah. If Biden wouldn't have had so many open borders and stuff like that for these people to come through. But do I think the Minnesota thing is going too far? Absolutely. But I still think you have people marching who have probably no idea what ICE is really doing. They're not just going to grab people like the media says they are. Is it happening sometimes? I'm sure it is. But it's nowhere as widespread as what the media is scaring people. You got these people doing interviews of like, my kid, like this is a full white person. Like, my kid's just afraid to go to school because she's afraid ICE is going to grab her. Your kid's 6. Like, what are you telling her? And they're out there marching, and I'm like, what are you marching against? Do you even know? I had somebody I argued with on Facebook, and I don't know why I'm even arguing with these idiots, but it's like, the ICE person put himself in front of the vehicle. Well, if there was a kid in front of the vehicle, do you think it was okay if she smashed the accelerator? Oh, no. Okay. If there's an adult in front of the car, is it okay if she smashed, even if she's turning the wheels? It's okay to smash the accelerator? No. But if you think it's okay that it's an ICE person, that it makes it that it's okay to smash the accelerator, well, you're the problem. Because everybody's a human being on this planet. And that ICE guy, despite if you believe what or you don't believe in what he's doing or anything, despite what however you feel about him, the dude had a family, still has a family. Now he's doxxed. His family's gonna get threats for who knows how long now. They want laws that ICE has to take masks off, but yet as soon as they find out who a masked person is, they're putting all their information on the internet and threatening to kill their families. I'd wear a mask too. It's just they're losing their mind. The problem is right now nobody's going to budge first. The people, and then you got senators and the governor in Minnesota who are telling everybody, y'all need to keep it up, keep fighting, keep doing all this stuff. And Trump ain't gonna let ICE back down. He's sending more people there. All these ICE people we had in New Orleans, whatever they were, 1,000 or whatever, how many ICE officers we had in New Orleans doing these rounds out here, they all left. They all went to Minnesota. So Trump's not going to blink first. And I think Minnesota, and then you have the residents on there who are saying, we don't want this here, despite what the media wants to say. Some media is interviewing their residents saying, I can't go to work tomorrow. I'm not going to get paid because I can't go to work. I can't go to work because I'd have to drive through the riots. And I'm not risking that. Can't send my kids to school. It's out the way. And the reason I keep talking about all this is because not that I'm trying to take sides and make things political, but this is having an effect on crypto and stocks right now. And something's got to budge. I don't know what's going to budge first. Something's got to budge. And I sit here and, like, oh, you watch too much Fox News. No, I don't. I don't watch Fox News. I don't have cable TV. I don't have satellite here. I don't have satellite at work. You know what I watch when I'm watching TV? I watch Westerns, The Rifleman, the dude from OK Corral, whatever. He had a TV show for a while. And the Tune channel I told you about. Or I put it on Pluto TV, because if you Pluto TV's got them 15 movie channels, and there's always a there's always a movie to watch. Beverly Hills 1, Beverly Hills 2, Beverly Hills Cop 3. There's always, something to watch. That's what I watch. I'm not watching Fox. You get everything from Fox News. No, but I do think it's interesting to watch CNN every now and then to see what their take on it. And I can see why people who follow CNN believe their take on it. I try to keep open-minded on both sides. I told you, I need to come up with my own political party, because neither one of them got the answers. But I probably lost 20 subscribers saying that, because if I don't come out for one or the other, Me TV Tunes is what it is. My wife's like, "Are you watching cartoons again?" I'm like, it's a great escape from the world. I mean, Super Friends, wasn't that like the best ever? This is what I'm watching. Scooby Doo. How can you go wrong with that? Jetsons, Flintstones. You know, it was great, man. It's great. Speed Racer, dude. I love some Speed Racer. Johnny Quest. I love Johnny Quest growing up. I know I'm aging myself. Majority of y'all probably weren't even born when half this came out. But I'm telling you, Flintstones, Jetsons, Inspector Gadget. I used to watch it all the time. When I came home from school, my grandparents would make me a little frozen pizza, and me and my friend would watch Inspector Gadget. Growing up in New Orleans, the 83, 84, somewhere around there. Mighty Mouse was awesome. Pac-Man Saturday morning. I'm telling you, Pac-Man had this huge craze going on with arcade and stuff like that. And when a Pac-Man cartoon came out, it was like people canceled what the hell they were doing on Saturdays to watch Pac-Man when it first came out. It was the biggest. I remember it. Like, it was the biggest freaking deal in the world. Real Ghostbusters, Speed Racer, Super Friends. Tom and Jerry. Yeah, man. I get stuck watching Me TV. And they recently just came to Dish Network and DirecTV, I think, too. So, yeah. Go to Maine, need to be arrested for treason. Jay Styles says, I have to go to Minnesota in a couple of weeks with my son for college. Not looking forward to it. If it makes you feel any better, what I've been told by, I have my Amsoil business, and they're based Superior, Wisconsin, which is directly across their little bridge from Duluth, Minnesota. So they have stuff on both sides. And talking to those people, what you're seeing is basically based in directly downtown Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and that's it. The rest of the country, the rest of the state is not like that. Now, when I do go to Duluth, Minnesota, I will say, dude, I don't know how I'm gonna say this without getting in trouble, without losing subscribers, but a lot of free-willed people living there. How about that? I mean, look, they don't bother, like they do their own thing and stuff like that, but you know, liberal, because someone don't even consider themselves liberal, but purple hair with living freely. I don't know. They have something against taking baths. I don't know, but still, I'm told Duluth is still not into all that stuff. So hopefully, whatever area of Minnesota you're going to, you don't have to worry about that. Hopefully, but Stargate channel. I watched the Stargate movie, the original movie, but I never watched the the series. Dude, look at Stargate's on right now. Oh, it won't let me stream it. It's blocking the video. That's crazy you said that. So this is all the Western channels. Have Gun with Travel, Gunsmoke, Bonanza, Wild Wild West, Rifleman. Dude, I can watch that all day. I know I've watched every episode of the Rifleman. I'm telling you, when you go to these movie channels, dude, look, you got Painting Game with The Rock. Spider-Man Homecoming's been on every day. Minority Report. First Night was a good movie. Scary Movie 3. I watched Christine yesterday morning. Christine. That was a classic. Catch Me If You Can, The Wars Run, The Detective Night, Brimstone, Thunder Road. I watch these flicks of furry also. Yep. I know. We way off keel now. We way done from crypto. So, her work is basically sprockets. Telling you, you can get stuck on that tunes. It just makes me remember, like, especially when I get depressed. I'm older. 80s were great, man. Like when you lived in the 80s, it sucked. But when I think about it now, all the things we did at the 80s, like think about it. How did we keep in touch with friends with no cell phones? I watch these not TikTok. I can't stand TikTok. These YouTube shorts, Facebook shorts, whatever you call them, with like, it's a video that says like, this is what we did in the 80s. And it was like trying to talk to a friend and you had the long cord on your phone from the kitchen and then you would go around the corner so people couldn't hear what you were saying, but you had to call your friend who also was next to their parents and stuff like that. When I was in high school and I discovered girls, I started cutting grass so I could have my own phone line in my cousin got, and then a friend of mine got their own phone line in their room, like their own phone number. I already had a phone, like the family phone number was in my room, but I got my own phone number and I thought it was the coolest shit in the world. like I have my own phone number. People could call me, and my parents didn't know. Not that it was hard or anything, but it was just like I didn't have to worry about my mom listening in, and like it was like my own private number. Then you would tell people, like tell the girls, like I got my own number. Here you go. And look, oh man, and now we giving 8-year-old cell phones, possibly running deep in projects on it, man. Going to skating rings and stuff like that. Yep. All right, boys and girls, I haven't eaten yet, so I'm going to see how my stuff is. Like, I appreciate everybody who was patient with me with all my my internet issues. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. I guess tomorrow I'm going to Best Buy and buy a router, or I'm getting a temporary one. You know, I have some old helium ones. They're only 100 megs, but I got about 7 or 8 Linksys 100 meg, $30. What A1200s or A9 somethings or something like that, A1900s or something like that. Archer, oh, I don't know. Cheap Linksys $30 routers that I bought from Walmart when I had all these helium devices that had to have separate external IPs and stuff like that. So even though it's only gonna be 100 megs, I'm gonna have to probably get that until I can get a new Linksys one. So oh, you hooked on Landman, dude? Don't tell me the last one. Don't tell me the last one. Like my wife's waiting for me right now to go watch the last Landman. I don't know how we're gonna watch it with no internet. I'm gonna have to put this Wi-Fi card on the TV. But we have not watched the last episode, and I told her we have to watch it because everybody's leaking it and spoiling it on Facebook. I already know how majority of it goes because people making stupid comments on Facebook. So secret people going nuts over there. Secret people going nuts over there. Look, I think Deepin's gonna be interesting because you wonder if Deepin continues to struggle. Wingbits being an exception, of course, but if Deepin continues to struggle, your new projects end up start coming out. Who's gonna invest in them? Who's gonna believe in them? I think while Wingbits is pretty much established and they know what they're dealing with. Mass Chain, 4D Sky. I'll give you another one. I talked about it in my video this morning. Combinder. When's the last time anybody's heard anything from Combinder? They're only on Telegram, and even look at the Telegram, they ain't said nothing in over a week. They kept saying beginning of the year that they're going to start letting us plug in different devices, but even before that, all they were talking about was peak contest. Like that's the thing about getting in testnet projects. You never know what's going to happen. I tell everybody I needed plugs, smart plugs to deal with. My Ashley, is it Ashley or whatever it is? Smart plugs still work, and no matter if Combiner works or not. So I heard some people complaining the other day about CapturGO. I haven't really ran into any issues with them, but I know that their Discord's kind of active, but this is my issue with CapturGO right here. Like, why are you signing me out again? I was in this earlier because I go in it just to make sure it didn't sign me out, and I'm driving around. 2 hours later, I'm signed out. Why? Oh, I don't know. Brusho, I have little faith in any project that only deals with Telegram. Brusho weekly update. Oh, you know what I wanted to do before we leave? Hold on. For those of y'all who are still here, I got some of y'all still here. Make sure you hit the like button while I'm sitting here doing this. Yo, I was supposed to remind me. I wanted to see what have people been buying on Helium Deploy. This is a way to me, because I have no idea who it is. I have no idea what part of the world they live in. But I figure this is a way that I can give y'all kind of an insight on what products people are buying right now. So it looks like somebody bought a 4D Sky. That was today. So 4D Sky, I think, especially for people who have a lot of Wingbit stations around them, but don't have any 4D Sky, I think you can see, and I would rather see them push that side of it. Hey, did you want to get in Wingbits? But did you find out that they need bigger hexes? Well, come to 4D Sky, you know. So that's one. This one's earlier. BitX Gamma. I told y'all, solo mining. Here's another one from 2 days ago. BitX Gamma. And here's another one. This person bought BitX Gamma. So that's the last three things that have been purchased since the weekend on Helium Deploy. Let's see what HiFix has. HiFix has not sold anything in the last 30 days. The last thing before that was a GeoNet triple band upgrade card for $295. And then before that was not told y'all that one, MGW310 GeoNet N Wingbits compatible. So that's at least for me, the last couple of things that have been purchased from people. Kind of interesting. I think 4D Sky is going to get another push just because I think, it's going to get pushed towards people who can't fit any more Wingbits devices around them and people that are willing to take that price plunge. And from what I'm seeing behind the scenes, I think you're going to see a lot more promos and a lot more things being pushed as far as solo mining, just because DPIN is. Helium Deploy has bundles right now. Buy one hammer miner and get a BitX Gamma 601 for free, $325. Minus $32 with the Grumpy code. Solo mining is gaining lots of traction. So Helium Deploy is releasing discounted bundles. Either I got booted from Combinder, or they have not updated since January 14th. That's the community contributions